Botany first year, English medium. Fifth chapter continuation, morphology of flowering plants. In that last class, we discussed about the parts of a flower, especially in that parts of a flower, especially we discussed about the calyx, corolla, androecium, and estivation, volute estivation, imbricate estivation, vexillary estivation, twisted estivation. Okay, these are all we discussed in yesterday class. Now today, one of the fourth floral part, gynoecium. Now we are going to discuss about the gynoecium. Gynoecium. Okay, gynoecium. So here, but what is the gynoecium? It is the fourth part of the fourth floral part. So gynoecium is the female reproductive part. This is the female reproductive part. Gynoecium is the female reproductive. Gynoecium is the female reproductive part of a flower. It is made up of one or more. It is made up of one or more carpels. The gynoecium is made up of one or more carpels. The gynoecium is made up of one or more carpels. This gynoecium is made up of one or more carpels. Here in androecium you can see stamens, but here carpels are there. The gynoecium is made up of one or more carpels. This gynoecium is made up of one or more carpels. A carpel consists of mainly three parts. A carpel consists of mainly three parts. The first one is stigma and style, ovary. Stigma, style and ovary. Ovary contain the ovules. So these are the parts you can see. Okay. Here you can see once. Okay, stigma, style, ovary. Inside the ovary, ovules are there. Ovules are there inside the ovary. Okay, ovules are there inside the ovary. So here you can see stigma, style, ovary, ovules. Ovary is the enlarged basal part. Ovary is the enlarged basal part. So this ovary which lies the elongated tube, the tube is called style, which lies elongated tube, the elongated tube is called style. So the style connect to both stigma and ovary. Stigma and ovary both are connected through elongated tube. The elongated tube is called style. Okay na? So okay, style connect the stigma and ovary. The stigma receives the pollen grains. The stigma is the tip of the style. It is the receptive surface of the pollen grains. Okay, the pollen grains are fall on the stigma. Stigma is the receptive part of the pollen grain. Okay, then? So each ovary having one or more ovules. The ovules are attached a flattened, a cushion-like structure. The flattened cushion-like structure is called placenta. On the placenta only ovules are arranged. Okay, na? So each ovary having one or more ovules. These ovules are attached a flattened cushion-like structure. The flattened cushion-like structure is called placenta. On the placenta only ovules are arranged. Placenta. Okay, placenta. On the placenta only the ovules are arranged in the placenta. So Suppose if one or more carpel is present, the carpels are free. Suppose if the ovary having one or more carpels, if the carpels are free, that are not united, if the carpels are free, they are called apocarpus. If the carpels are free, if the carpels, if the number of carpels are more than one, if the carpels are free, they are called apocarpus. They are called apocarpus. They are called apocarpus. Carpels are free, apocarpus. If the carpels are united, no, they combined, no, they are fused, no, that is called syncarpus. That is called syncarpus. That is called syncarpus. Apocarpus and syncarpus. Apocarpus means carpels are free. Syncarpus means carpels are united. Okay, na? Apocarpus example, rose. Apocarpus best example, rose. Syncarpus example, mustard. Syncarpus example, mustard. Apocarpus example, rose. Syncarpus example, mustard. Okay, so after the fertilization, ovary is converted into fruit, ovules are converted into seeds. Okay, this is about the important information about the gynoecium, which is the female part. Okay, and you can remind apocarpus and syncarpus. Okay, carpels are united, carpels are free. Carpels are free, no, apocarpus. Carpels are united, fused, no, we call syncarpus. Okay, next worry. Ovules are arranged in the ovary, a flattened cushion-like structure that is called placenta. So, the arrangement of ovules within the ovary, that is called placentation. Now, next topic, important topic, Nani, placentation. Continuation. Placentation. But what is the placentation? Placentation means what? The arrangement of ovules within the ovary is known as placentation. The placentation is different types here, especially nearly 5 types of the placentation. You may discuss 5 types of the placentation. The first one is marginal placentation. First one is marginal placentation. Second one is axial placentation. Axial. Okay, axial placentation. Axial placentation. Marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, parietal placentation, and fourth one free central placentation. Free central placentation. Fifth one basal placentation. So these are the types of the placentation. Okay, marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, free central placentation, and basal placentation. So first one, marginal placentation. In this placentation, the placenta forms. In this marginal placentation, the placenta forms. In this marginal placentation, the placenta forms a ridge along with the ventral suture of the ovary. Placenta forms a ridge. Placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary. Placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary, and the ovules are born on this ridge. Especially in peas, there are 2 rows are there. In beans, one row only there. In peas, 2 rows are there. So the placenta forms a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary. The ovules are bare on this ridge. Especially in peas, 2 rows are there. In beans, one row only there. So here the ovules are arranged. The ovules are here. The ovules are arranged. Okay. This is the marginal placentation. Best example, peas. Best example, peas, beans. Okay. Next, axial placentation. When the placenta is axial center, actually you can see in these the ovules are attached in the actually placenta here. In this placentation, the placenta is axial, means the center. The placenta is axial. The ovules are attached to the placenta in a multilocular ovary. Actually here the ovary is multilocular. Actually here the ovary is multilocular ovary. Actually the ovary is multilocular, means many chambers. Actually the ovary is multilocular ovary. Multilocular ovary. Multilocular ovary. Okay. Multilocular ovary. Many chambers are there. Here multilocular ovary. Many chambers are there. In these the placenta is developed here. The placenta is axial. The ovules are attached to it in the multilocular ovary. The ovules are attached here in multilocular ovary. The ovules are attached here in the multilocular ovary. The ovules are attached here in multilocular ovary. Okay, these are the septa. These are the locules, means chambers are there here. Multilocular ovary. Okay, so placenta, here the placenta is formed in the axial. Ovules are arranged in it in multilocular ovary. So this type of the placentation is called axial placentation. Okay, na? Best example, hibiscus, tomato, lemon. Hibiscus, tomato, lemon. Hibiscus, best example, hibiscus, tomato, lemon. This is axial placentation. Next one, parietal placentation. In this parietal placentation, the ovules are developed in the inner wall of the ovary. Here, the ovules are developed in the inner wall of the ovary. Ovules are developed in the inner wall of the ovary. Ovules are developed in the inner wall of the ovary. Ovules are developed in the inner wall of the ovary. So here actually ovary is one chambered, but it becomes two chambers due to the formation of a false septum. Here one false septum is formed. Because of the formation of the false septum, the ovary is appear like a two chambers. The ovaries appear like a two chambers because of the formation of false septum. So ovules are arranged at the inner wall of the ovary. This is parietal placentation. Ovules are arranged in the inner wall of the ovary. Actually this ovary is only one chamber. Because of the formation of false septa, it is appearing like a two chambers. Okay, this is the parietal placentation. Best example, mustard. Best example, mustard. Next, free central. Next, free central placentation. In this free central placentation, ovules are born on the central axis without septa. Here central axis is there now. Here central axis is there. The ovules are born in the central axis. 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 Okay, this is the free central. There is no septas. Okay, na? So ovules are born on the central axis there is no septas, there is no locule, there is no septas. So this type of the placentation generally we can see dianthus and primrose, dianthus and primrose. Free central placentation you can see placenta is formed at the center of the axil. There is no septas. Here on the central axis ovules are arranged. This is free central. There is no locules, there is no septas. Best example dianthus and primrose. Best examples dianthus and primrose. Dianthus and primrose. Best example. Next last basal placentation. In this basal placentation, placenta develops at the base of the ovary. A single ovule is developed. A single ovule is attached on the placenta. Placenta is developed at the base of the ovary. Here you can see the placenta is developed at the base of the ovary. Here you can see the placenta is developed at the base of the ovary only. Here at the base of the ovary only the placenta is developed. The placenta is developed at the base of the ovary only. Okay, the placenta develops at the base of the ovary. A single ovule is attached to the placenta. A single ovary is attached at the base of the ovary. At the base of the ovary only placenta is developed. So single ovary is present at the base of the placenta. So that is called basal placentation. Best example sunflower and marigold. 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 So this is the placentation. Very important topic. Okay, placentation is mainly 5 types: marginal placentation, axial placentation, parietal placentation, free central placentation, basal placentation. In this marginal placentation, the placenta develops a ridge along the ventral suture of the ovary. Ovules are attached on the ridge in 2 rows, especially in peas. Axial placentation, the placenta is developed at the center on the multilocular ovary. In the axial only the ovules are attached. That is hibiscus, tomato and citrus, lemon. Okay. Next, parietal placentation. The ovules are attached at the inner wall of the ovary. Actually, this is a single locule. Because of the forming of falsecta, it is appearing like a bilocule. Okay, best example mustard. Free central, the placenta forms at the central of the axis without forming any septas. Here on the central axis only ovules are attached. Best example dianthus, primrose. A sunflower, placenta forms at the base of the ovary. Only a single ovule is present on the placenta, which is developed at the base of the ovary. Best example marigold, sunflower. So this is the basal placentation. So these are the types of the placentation. Okay, these are the types of the placentation. The next topic, Nani. Up to now we completed about the flower. Last topic of this chapter, fruit. Okay, last topic of this chapter, fruit. About fruit. Okay, just introduction. Tomorrow class we have to discuss about the types of the fruits. Now, fruit is the characteristic feature of flowering plants. Okay, fruit is the characteristic feature of flowering plants. It is a mature or ripened ovary. Already you know that after the fertilization, ovary is converted into fruit, ovules are converted into seeds. So the fruit is the mature or ripened ovary developed after fertilization only. Fruit is the mature or ripened ovary which is developed after fertilization only. After the fertilization, ovary is developed into fruit, ovules are developed into seeds. If a fruit is formed without fertilization of the ovary, that type of the fruits are called parthenocarpic fruit, parthenogenesis, parthenocarpic fruits. If the fruit is developed without fertilization, the ovary directly developed into fruit. So in this situation we can get seedless fruits, seedless grapes, seedless watermelon, banana. These are all examples. So if the ovary directly developed without fertilization, so that type of the process is called, that type of the fruit is called parthenocarpic fruit. That type of the fruit is called parthenocarpic fruit. That type of so here without the fertilization, ovary is directly developed into fruit. So that type of the process, that type of the fruit is called parthenocarpic fruit. Best example, banana. Okay, so here generally fruit consists of a wall that is called pericarp. Generally a fruit consists of a wall that is called pericarp. And also fruit contain seeds. Okay, fruit contain a wall that is called pericarp. Inside the fruit seeds are there. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. The pericarp means the wall. Pericarp means what? Fruit wall. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. The pericarp may be dry or fleshy. Okay. Fleshy means very thick. Fleshy means thick. Okay. Pericarp either dry or fleshy means thick. So if the pericarp is thick means fleshy, it is differentiated into 3 layers. One is outer layer, that is called epicarp. Outer epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. Suppose if the pericarp is fleshy, pericarp means what? Fruit wall. Sometimes the pericarp in some fruits, the pericarp should be dry or fleshy, means thick. If the pericarp is fleshy, it is having 3 layers. One is outer layer, epicarp, middle layer, mesocarp, inner layer, endocarp. So in the most of the plants, the fruit develops from the ovary and other floral parts that are degenerate, means fall off. Generally calyx, corolla, stamens, these are fall off. Just only ovary is converted into fruit, ovules are converted into seed. This is common. But in few plants such as apple, cashew nuts and strawberry, the thalamus, the stalk of the flower, thalamus, that is nothing but it is the ending part of the stalk of the flower. Thalamus means pedicel. The thalamus contribute to fruit formation. The thalamus changes into fruit. Generally all the floral parts are removed except the ovary, except the gynecium, all the floral parts are fall off. But in some plants, especially in apple, cashew nuts, apple and cashew nuts, and strawberry. Thalamus contribute to fruit formation. Thalamus contribute to fruit formation. Such fruits are called false fruits. Such type of the fruits are called false. Such type of the fruits are called false fruits. Best example: apple, strawberry, and cashew nuts. So most of the fruits generally we can see that are developed from the ovary. So that type of the fruits are called true fruits. That type of the fruits are called true fruits. That type of the fruits are called true fruits. Okay, that type of the fruits are called true fruits. In these two fruits, ovules mature into seeds, ovary mature into develops into fruit. Okay, so what about the classification of the fruits? The fruits that can be classified into two types based on the nature of the pericarp. How the pericarp? What is the nature of the pericarp? Fruit wall. Either it is dry or it is fleshy. Okay, fleshy fruits will be, the fleshy fruits will have pericarp. The fleshy fruits will have pericarp having three layers: epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. Okay, in dry fruits there is no pericarp. The pericarp is dry in dry fruits. There is no layers. Okay, there is no layers. So based on the nature of the pericarp, the fleshy fruits are classified into 5 types. In tomorrow class we are going to discuss about the classification of the fruits based on the, especially in fleshy fruits, based on the pericarp. How the pericarp, either pericarp is dry or fleshy. Fleshy means it having 3 layers: epicarp, mesocarp, endocarp. Dry means there is no in the dry fruits the pericarp doesn't form any layers. Okay, dry fruits have dry and indivisible pericarp only. There is no divisions in pericarp. There is no mesocarp, there is no epicarp, mesocarp and endocarp in dry fruits. Only in fleshy fruits only the pericarp should be fleshy and thick. It is divided into 3 layers. Okay, based on this pericarp character, the fleshy fruits are having several types. Tomorrow class we are going to discuss about the classification of the fruits. Okay, thank you children. Today we discussed completely gynoecium and some information about the fruit and parthenocarpic fruit, fruit wall, pericarp. If the pericarp is dry, they are called dry fruits. If the pericarp is fleshy, they are called fleshy fruits. If the pericarp is fleshy thick, they are having 3 layers: epicarp outer layer, mesocarp middle layer, endocarp inner layer. Okay, so generally after fertilization all the floral parts are degenerate, means fall off. But especially in apple, cashew nuts, strawberry, the thalamus contribute to fruit formation. So that type of the fruits which are developed from other than ovary, that type of the fruits are called false fruits. The fruits which are developed directly from the ovary, that type of the fruits are called true fruits. Okay, tomorrow class we are going to discuss about the classification of the fleshy fruits. Okay, thank you children.